some of our experience on the IAEA and to tell you a little bit about what we're doing. Many people think of the IAEA as the nuclear watchdog. That's how we are very well known, but we do a lot of other things. And our human health program is large and includes nutrition together with radiotherapy, nuclear medicine, and medical physics. So this slide shows the overall mandate of the IAEA, and as you see, it's very broad, and it refers not only to peace, and peace is obviously very, very important, but it also includes health and prosperity throughout the world. So in nutrition, we work with our member states. The IAEA currently has 153 member states, so not all countries in the world are member states, but we do work with our member states to enhance their capability to combat malnutrition in all its forms. And how do we do that? Well, the mandate of the IAEA refers to the use of nuclear techniques, and therefore we are looking for opportunities and possibilities to use nuclear techniques when they can provide additional information, more detailed information that we cannot get by traditional techniques that we are using in nutrition and health. And that ranges over the whole wide spectrum from undernutrition to overnutrition, and includes micronutrient deficiencies and the links between nutrition and infections. So, of course, we work with the other UN agencies and many other players in nutrition, as well as the ministries of health and nutrition institutes in countries. And our overall aim is to complement work done by other organizations by introducing the nuclear technology. Nuclear technology in nutrition is, in particular, the use of stable isotope techniques. Stable isotopes have been mentioned a few times. Stable isotopes are, by definition, stable. There is no radioactivity involved in any of these applications, and therefore we can use these techniques in the most vulnerable population groups, such as newborn babies, lactating mothers, infants and young children, as well as any other age group that you might be interested in. Stable isotope techniques provide a set of tools, if you want, that if you use these techniques wisely, you can generate information that is more sensitive and more specific as compared to conventional techniques. This is just a relatively short list of the different things that you can do by stable isotope technique. Different measures. You can look at human milk intake, you can look at protein metabolism, you can look at total energy expenditure, as Professor Wauer mentioned in his presentation, as well as many other things. What we will be focusing on here today is the application to assess body composition. So stable isotope techniques in nutrition, that's our core activity. We spend a lot of time contributing to capacity building in member states. We provide technical expertise, either by the expertise that we have ourselves within the unit at IAEA headquarters, or by linking up countries, member states, with international experts who might be based in a completely different part of the world. We also spend a lot of time and effort on raising awareness about the usefulness of these techniques. As I'm sure many of you are very well aware of, stable isotope techniques have been used for many, many years in nutrition research, in particular in the North, in North America and in Europe. But what we're now interested in is, of course, to broaden out the use of these techniques and make them available globally. We do that by having different mechanisms by which we provide support to our member states. I'm not going to go into details here. If somebody's interested, I'll be happy to discuss it separately. We have something called coordinated research projects. We have technical cooperation projects. I know that some of you in the audience have been working with us and you have experience with getting support from the IAEA. We also produce documents and e-learning materials, as well as we organize meetings, various technical meetings where we discuss, for example, new development in the use of nuclear techniques in nutrition. That was our most recent meeting in Vienna just a few weeks ago. So body composition assessment, well, you've heard the term a number of times already, and you've also seen this photo of a little girl from Bangladesh. This little girl who is called Shima is now quite a famous little girl because these photos have been used a number of times to highlight severe acute malnutrition. And it doesn't need much imagination to see that this little girl, throughout her stay in the hospital, she put on quite a lot of weight. She changed her body composition. You can see it visually. And this is, of course, a very, very extreme case. In most situations, you wouldn't be able to say that there's a change in body composition by just looking at the child. So what I'm trying to say here is that body composition assessment can be used in a very large, very broad context that goes from one extreme to another. One extreme is severe acute malnutrition. Another rather extreme situation is childhood obesity, and in particular the very severe cases of childhood obesity. And this happens to be taken from, I think it was Time magazine some time ago. You're all very familiar with this type of scenario. The assessment of body composition, as you've heard now several times, is really to look at the partitioning between lean muscle and fat mass in individuals. So by using stable isotope technique, and you will recognize a lot of this from what Professor Ellis said before, water is our focus. Water is what we measure by stable isotope technique. And why are we interested in water? Well, it's because it is the largest proportion of the body weight, and it's also the largest proportion of the fat-free mass, the lean mass. So therefore, if we can measure body water accurately, we can convert it into lean mass. And that is then the basis for the most straightforward, simple type of body composition assessment, what Professor Ellis referred to as the two-compartment model. We do that by stable isotope technique, by using in particular deuterium, which is a stable isotope, so it's present in nature. We introduce it into the system, and this is just a cartoon to show you how isotope dilution works. We introduce a dose of deuterium oxide. It is equilibrated in total body water, and we take an enriched sample after a few hours, and we measure the enrichment by either isotope ratio mass spectrometry or Fourier transformed infrared spectroscopy. Then we convert the total body water into fat-free mass, and by difference we can calculate fat mass. So this is the most basic way of assessing body composition, and this is a very useful way of monitoring changes during, for example, rapid growth. The different types of equipment that you need to measure deuterium enrichment are shown here on this slide. Isotope ratio mass spectrometry. The IAEA has provided support to Kuwait in very close collaboration with the government of Kuwait to install an isotope ratio mass spectrometer. It was about 1 year maybe now, not more, that since the machine was installed. This is a very sophisticated type of equipment that needs very highly skilled operators and needs also quite a lot of infrastructure around it. So these machines you don't find in that many places, in particular outside, again, North America and Europe. What we are very, very interested in is to see the broader use of deuterium oxide for body composition assessment by introducing a simple, robust analytical technique, which is the FTIR. And the machine you see here, it's just a benchtop machine. This FTIR is installed at the laboratory in Bangui in Central African Republic, and we do have a couple of colleagues from that hospital. So this type of machine requires much less infrastructure, is much easier to learn how to operate. So this has really transformed the way we see the wider application of stable isotope technique in nutrition. These are the documents that Professor Ellis referred to. We have spent quite a lot of time and effort over the last few years producing documents to provide guidance on how to use stable isotope technique in nutrition. We have a series of documents that are available. You can download them free of charge from the IAEA website, or you can order them hard copy at a very reasonable cost. We also have a document on DEXA, and DEXA was mentioned by Professor Ellis. It's the golden standard technique to measure bone mineral density, but it can also be used for body composition assessment. And this document was published more recently. It provides guidance on how to use this technique, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the DEXA machines that are available. These are commercial machines, obviously. The one you see here on the slide is from, it's a photo from India, from Bangalore.